We've got more M&A activity occurring in the gold sector, but unlike pure transactions, this latest one is a bit different. Rather than bring multiple assets together, we're instead seeing ownership consolidated within a single major asset. Of course, we are talking about Tudor Gold's acquisition of American Creek Resources, which will see Tudor expand its ownership interest within the Treaty Creek project, while also making things easier to push development of the project forward. Let's dive in. Don't miss the Rules Symposium for Natural Resource Investing happening July 7th in Boca Raton. If you can't make it in person, that's not a problem. You can get your ticket to watch live online or on demand. We'll be there with the deep dive, so if you make it out to Boca, come say hi at our booth. If you want to sign up, click on the link in the description to get your pass. Tudor Gold is set to increase their ownership of the Treaty Creek project. The company has come to terms under a binding letter of intent to acquire American Creek Resources, which is one of the joint venture partners on the project. The acquisition will see Tudor Gold increase their ownership to 80%, following the inclusion of American Creek's 20% carried interest on the project. And while Tudor had already been the majority shareholder in the joint venture, bumping their ownership from 60 to 80% just makes things easier from an operations standpoint. First, it means there's one less party at the table when it comes to moving project development forward. Second, as Tudor CEO Joe Ovsenik says, with an increased ownership of the Treaty Creek project, Tudor is better positioned to attract a wider range of potential investors to the developing story of this high-quality gold-copper asset. Those potential investors include both retail as well as strategic partners to assist in project development. And third, as American Creek CEO Darren Blaney puts it, the purchase increases Tudor's attractiveness with respect to becoming a potential takeover target by a larger developer. All of which obviously are a major benefit for shareholders of both Tudor Gold and American Creek alike. And while we're told that these major strategic investments are not being pursued at this time, you never know who's going to come knocking in this gold environment. So what exactly is the Treaty Creek project? Treaty Creek is found in northern BC, covering 18,000 hectares within the acclaimed Golden Triangle. To give you a sense of the significance of this project, it borders Seabridge Gold's KSM project, one of the world's largest undeveloped gold projects to the southwest, and also borders Newmont's Bruce Jack mine to the south. The past-producing Eskay Creek mine, meanwhile, is just 12 kilometers to the west. But Treaty Creek is hardly dwarfed by its massive neighbors. The project, as per the company, hosts what is considered one of the largest gold discoveries in the last 30 years, which is referred to as the Goldstorm deposit. A February 2024 technical report outlined that Goldstorm hosts resources within both open pit and underground models. The open pit model is said to contain 2.3 million ounces of gold, 8.2 million ounces of silver, and 29 million pounds of copper in the indicated category, which is rather significant on its own. But the real magic is the underground model, which boasts resources of 19 million ounces of gold, 120 million ounces of silver, and 2.8 million pounds of copper in the indicated category. A further 5 million ounces of gold and 29 million ounces of silver and 503 million pounds of copper exist within the inferred category of the underground model. All told, gold equivalent resources across all categories here total out to 34 million ounces. And the deposit is open to further expansion. Not to mention that 3 other zones are believed to contain deposits on the property. So you can see why Tudor Gold wants to grab as much of this asset as they can. All right, so let's get into the terms here. Tudor Gold is set to acquire American Creek in an all-share deal, with American Creek shareholders to get what amounts to a 40% premium based on the closing price of the two entities on June 6, 2025, which was the last trading session before the transaction was announced. American Creek shareholders will receive 0.238 shares of Tudor for each share of American Creek they hold. Based on the closing price of the equities at the time of writing, it amounts to a total price tag of about $58 million. Post-transaction, American Creek shareholders will own 30% of the resulting company, with the resulting company expected to have 375 million shares outstanding, which includes the settlement of about $1.2 million in severance payments owed to American Creek insiders that will be paid out via the issuance of Tudor stock. And while the transaction is currently a binding LOI, we're told that the binding portion is in respect to that exchange ratio, so don't anticipate any changes here. The transaction is, of course, subject to a definitive agreement being signed, alongside shareholder approval from American Creek investors. A definitive agreement is expected to be signed by July 14th, while the transaction is currently expected to close by September 30th. All right, so let's wrap it up. For someone that's an outsider looking in, this transaction looks like a no-brainer. Tudor is paying $57 million in stock to increase their ownership and a massive gold deposit by 20%. Let's frame it a different way. American Creek owns a 20% interest in those 34 million ounces of gold equivalent. Based on that price tag, Tudor is paying about $8.50 per ounce of gold equivalent. And on top of that, they are now an interesting opportunity for a major to come in and acquire, or for a streamer or royalty company to come in and finance, which wasn't exactly the case when they only held a 60% interest in the project. And for what it's worth, Tudor has also said they are interested in acquiring the remaining interest that they currently don't hold, which is held by Teuton Resources. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts on this transaction, let us know in the comments section. We can all learn together. Also, if there's stories you want us to cover that we haven't covered yet, also let us know in the comment section. Guys, we got lots of commentary on our YouTube channel and over on our website, TheDeepDive.ca. So if you're looking for more of that kind of stuff, go check it out, either on the website or on our channel. All right, everybody, thanks for watching.